welcome back to
Hello, welcome.
welcome back to
You go ahead.
FreedoniaCon 2025, and we have the glorious Miss Debbie, and she's going to talk about using Legends of Barsaive adventures in a home campaign. Miss Debbie, take it away.
Thank you. I'm glad you're all here. This is something that we have been promoting and that I've been working with a long time, both running Legend of Barsaive adventures and editing them. And I think really useful in your campaign. So, say you play Earth Dawn at a convention for the first time, or anybody else's game, and maybe you'd like to GM a game yourself, and either start a table, or if you already have a table going, you could for your home table. If you're relatively new to Earth Dawn, it can seem like it's a big task to run a game for the first time. And there's a lot of lore, there's a lot of background, there are a lot of rules, there are a lot of things. It could seem overwhelming, but it's really not, because we have the Legends of Barsaive. Another thing that may be difficult to start out GMing is Barsaive to have the adventure. There are lots and lots of locations, and they all have their special charm. But this is a particular location that is a good introduction to Earth Dawn, because it has the many of the creatures and types of characters that your party would like to meet. Another thing that's kind of difficult at the beginning of GMing a game is to design the pieces that you need. So if you need some help with that, there are all the NPCs that are already designed and are available to use in the Legend of Earth Dawn adventures. And then you also have to help your players make characters. So that's a time-consuming job, especially for people who are new to the game. And if your home table is brand new to Earth Dawn, it's going to seem like it's going to take a while. So what you can do is you can use pre-generated characters that are available in the book, or there is a free booklet available for generating your own character, and it's LoBs, or Legend of Barsaive. Legend of Barsaive is a living campaign that was originally designed for conventions. So when you go to a convention, there is usually a game slot time of 4 hours. It can be longer, it can be shorter, but during 4 hours, you play a game probably with strangers, with people you don't know, or you may go with a few people that you do know. You may not know the G, you may know them. But to bring all these various characters together, we have the Legends of Barsaive. And so you go to various adventures that you haven't played yet, and you continue with a character that you have built, that you have generated for the LOB, and you can continue to use that character in various adventures that are published and or run at convention. So this is how the LOB started, but I believe that they are very good for running a home campaign as well. Does anybody have any thoughts so far about this? Who's already
So I have not actually read all of or tried to GM any of the LOBs yet.
Mm-hmm. But you have GM for a while.
I've GM'd for a long time, and I've GM'd Earth Dawn
Right.
for a while. but I think
Mhm.
if I was a beginning GM, I think the living lore might be a little intimidating because Earthdawn people tend to
Yeah,
be very into the lore. So I think that that could be in the beginning be really intimidating. Do you have any suggestions on things to keep in mind or to look at to help out?
that's what's good about saying the LOBs, and as you begin the adventure, as you begin your game, your Earthdawn game, because it's going to focus on one area and one piece of the lore. So that's a good introduction to what is happening throughout Barsaive. And Barsaive is basically the continent where the location is for Earthdawn. Okay, so I already talked about this part. uh, the good thing is, they, even though they are set to be 4 hours or so, maybe a little less than 4 hours, so that people can get to their next game in a convention. You can spend it when you are running it as a home campaign. Sometimes there are additional challenges that are in the LB itself, where if the game is going quickly, if your players are, taking shortcuts of some kind, and you think you're going to be the GM at a convention, you think you might be finished early, then you can ramp up the challenge, which already include. Or if they are going slower, you can slow down or skip some sections of the challenge. But when you're doing it as a home campaign, you can add little things to it, make it longer so that you can do several weeks of home campaign. If you know you want to run a whole campaign with with LOBs, there is a publication called Haven Volume 1. That is what it looks like, the cover. And it contains the first 8 LOB adventures, 101 through 108, has Massive Year, which is number 100, LOB 100. And that is basically on your way to Haven. Haven is the town where the Legends of Barsaive is set. It contains this volume also contains some additional rules that GMs and players can utilize to help them run and play these adventures. If you don't want to start out with all 8 of them, then you can start with the individual Legends of Bar. The one that I'm running is called Toys in the Attic, and it is LOB 101. And you can start it in your home campaign and what your players think and how you feel about GMing if you haven't GM before. Another great thing about this about using Legend of Barsaive is there are free products for both the GM and the players. So on the left, you see the Haven source book, which is more or less a booklet that you can download from the FASA website, and it will contain the thing and NPCs that the GM can use and that they will encounter through running the LEs. On the right, you have the characters booklet, and that one has the generator, which tells your player how to create player characters, and also has some of the stats and things that go along with their characters. It has list spells and things like that. so that they can pretty much be ready to go when they come to the game. Now, what is bringing people to Haven, this small town out on the edge of in the upright look at a Barsaive map? And the reason people come here is because the great city of Parlin is here. Actually built into the wall of Parlinth. Parlinth had an extensive wall surrounding it from the outside. Parlinth is known as the Forgotten City because it disappeared for a while. It was the seat of rule over Barsaive. Barons were an organization of elves that came and conquered Barsaive and ruled over for a period of time in the past. And it was their very opulent city. It was very not only the seat of Theron rule in but many treasures and riches in the city. Now, the magic level in Earth Dawn rises and falls over periods of thousands of years. And when magic level is high, then there are entities from the astral plane that can enter into Barsaive. And these are called horrors. Horrors are then basically roaming land, destroying everything living, a lot of things that are non-living are being destroyed as well. So to protect themselves, the people are called beavers. They'll form a care. They'll usually dig into the ground or go into a natural cave system to form a to find a protected space where they last out the scourge. It's called the scourge is when the horrors have free reign over Barsaive. And they have to stay there for generations or the scourge is over. And they not only have a physical barrier of the dirt and the earth that they are under in or the hair that has been developed. They also have magical protections because the horrors are very physical and magical. They come from astral plane. So instead of forming a care for the city of Parlinth, they decided to remove the whole city from Barsaive and put it in an astral plane. And while they were gone, to keep the horrors from finding them, they basically had a that prevented anybody from remembering the city. So it became known as the Forgotten City when it came back. Eventually, it did come back. However, horrors found it in had breached the city and had ravaged the name givers that lived there. And horrors remained in Plain and are still hiding out there, even though the magic level is starting to go down from its peak during. So Haven is a town developed next to Parlinth, as I mentioned earlier, and many adventurers have wanted to explore and search in the city of Parlinth to try to find its treasures and riches. Haven developed as providing goods and services, as well as a place to rest for these adventurers. So adventurers from all over Barsaive that want to get rich quick will come to Haven, which has been established, and from there they can make forays into the city. Because of all the adventurers that have come to this town, there have been some rivalries that have developed. And this is due to competition between the adventurers trying to get the most treasure from the. It's very, very dangerous in the city due to the horrors and horror constructs that are in the city, but they are still going in for these treasures and powerful magic items. So, as your characters go through various LOBs and they gain advancement, they're going to need to have mentor, which is one of the ways that which is the way you advance within the Earth Dawn system, is to basically have an agreement with the mentor discipline and work with them to increase your circle level to go to the next level in your circle. These are provided in Haven, so that there is one of each discipline mentor available in Haven itself. These mentors are split up in adventuring companies that formed in Haven, strong companies, groups that have taken over parts of Haven and so recruit new members and constantly growing. And these are some of the groups that are having rivalries between them that I was talking about, in addition to individual parties going into our length and looking for treasures. We've also got these a little bit more organized adventuring companies. So the Lost Caravan Company has an air sailor, an illusionist, and a thief, which are available to be mentors to your player. These are all NPCs that are going to interact with your players during the LOBs, and this allows them to be able to approach those members later when they need to increase their circle level. Loster's Lawbringers have a cavalryman, a nethermancer, a warden. And as you can see, each of them have a magician character, which is an illusionist and these. And this will have more physical player types as well, disciplines. Other adventuring companies that are in Haven are the Curators. The Curators has an archer, a troubadour, and a wizard. And then the prestigious Order has a master, an elementalist, and a scout. And finally, the Strong Arm has a raider, a swordsmith, and a weaponsmith. There are 4 magical disciplines that are provided for. There is a 5th one that's not in the Legends of Barsaive yet. But certainly one of your players could be that 5th of magic user. But all 4 of the magic users are represented here, as well as the other disciplines. Questions on discipline?
I'm not seeing any
Pretty
questions.
self-explanatory.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I would say this one might be, in case someone watches this later on YouTube, the troubadour isn't what most
Mhm.
people think of as a standard class. And discipline's a little
Mhm.
more involved than class, but maybe you could explain a little bit about troubadours?
Troubadours are the socialites of the of Earth Dawn. They are having more social skills. There, you do have a social stat, which is your social defense. And if you are interacting with other characters, NPCs, or if you yourself are interacting with an NPC as a player, then you're going to make rolls that are going to social defense, or they attack your social defense and try to influence you in some way. And they also in combat they can enhance their own party, and they can also deflate the me in the combat. So they have lots of uses, lots of interesting things that they do, especially if you like the role playing part of the role. Any other ones that need additional explanation, do you think?
No, but that one I think is less common, so I thought would be cool.
Good.
You did a great job.
Yeah. Thanks. Okay. Did somebody start to say something?
No, I'm
Okay,
just paying attention. I've
great.
never GM'd in my life, so this is interesting.
Well, good. Hopefully, this will inspire you to try. So, your party at your table can decide to stay as a freelance party or can join one of these 5 companies and become a member of their company. If you remain freelance, then you're going to stay independent. There's no requirement for your party to join one of these companies or, multiple companies. Now, there are advantages to joining a company, and individuals can join a company, one of the 5 companies that I mentioned earlier, or the whole table may decide to join a single company and get within the company. There are rewards associated with each company. There are either discounts off goods that they sell, example, or gardeners, and you can get a discount on buying healing aids from them. And then there are discounts on services they can provide. There is with the strongest arm, and he can do forging of weapons. In order to increase the weapon they have to be more effective, you can have it forged, and that will make it stronger and also more damaging. So as you through the adventures, there is a log at the end, and the log will record. You'll record on the log which who played with and what the final result of the adventure was, because obviously each table is going to be a little bit different. And so a second of who you game with. So the various companies that you interact with during the adventure you can have a plus or minus depending on how it went during the adventure. And the more pluses you get, the more likely it is that they will take you as a member. Now, it's recommended that a player, if they decide to join a company as an individual, that they choose the company that their mentor is a member of. But it's not required, because you can have good interactions with the company that have joined personally. Because of the rivalry between these companies, you can only join one of the companies and will require membership to be with that, to be a member of that company. So as a new GM, there are treasures to be found in Parlanthe, and you don't have to design them yourself in this case. The treasures are outlined in the Adventures in the Haven booklet. The main draw to being in Haven are the treasures and loot to be found in Parlanthe. There are not only horrors and horror constructs, but there are many creatures that have been warped by the horrors. So they are not ordinary creatures, but they're magical creatures of sight that can be a difficult opponent. So part of defeating a creature in Earth Dawn is many of these magical creatures will have a body part that is considered loot. If you take that body part, if you kill the creature and you take the body part, then you can sell it to one of the companies or to market someplace where you can get some gold pieces from it or silver pieces. Or you can keep the items for personal use. A lot of the items that are found can be kept by the players themselves and can be used by them rather than selling them for treasure. The adventures provide what is going to happen during the adventure. So there are usually quests and or tasks that the various companies in Haven or other residents, there's other prominent Haven residents that are also outlined in the Haven booklet. And they hire to complete various, and they will offer them, for example, 100 silver pieces to do something. These adventures do require dangerous forays into Parlane. There are multiple sections within Parlane that have their various dangers. So, depending on the LOB that you are running or playing in, you're going to encounter different parts with Parlane. It's difficult to know what those sections are like until you get there, because different adventures, if you talk to the adventures that have come back safely from Parlane, they are going to try to keep the locations where they have found things hidden. Do not want to go back themselves and try to find more treasure. So if they bring something big back, they usually do not tell anyone else. It's sort of like the prospectors, right? The gold prospectors that went to pan for gold and didn't want people to know where they had got their stash of gold from. So it's the same kind of thing. So because of the rivalry, sometimes difficult information from various characters, NPCs within Haven, unless you if you like maps, there are maps available for both Haven and for the use of the GM and the players. Haven has a more detailed map, even though the town itself was more haphazardly built. It kind of developed. Adventurers came to Haven to actually to Parlane originally to try to get treasure from Lane, and then they needed a safe place to rest between going into the city and going through all the danger of the city. So pieces of Haven were originally part of Parlane and have been reused. And there is a wall in between Haven and Parlane that protects the people from the horror constructs, and the creatures that are in itself. And also, there is a area surrounding Parlane, also is called the Wilds, and is a forest area that also has strange creatures in it and can be dangerous. So Haven is part of the original wall from both the wilds outside of the city and from Parlane itself. Parlane is very organized in its layout because it was an imperial city at one point, and so originally set up to be very organized. But of course, when the horrors destroyed the city, many areas of the city are very run down and not what they used to be. And there's going to be caps. So the characters, the PCs may think that they have a good map, but then it may not be exactly what they think it's going to be. There is an adventurer's map that's drawn on one of the walls in Haven. It's near the gate, go to Haven itself, or into Park itself. And it's constantly being added to and reworked. So if an adventurer comes back our length, they can add to the wall the section where they went. But again, they are giving conflicting reports of the various locations in Parlength and what they encountered there in order to keep it to themselves and to increase that rivalry. So adventures into Parlength will bring back different tales. And if you go to one of the bars in Haven, you're going to hear all kinds of different tales from the same section of Parlength. It's one of the fun parts, I think. This is not a list, but some of the regions within Parlength are the laneways. The laneways are basically large roads that crisscross through the city, and they are very wide and allowed for multiple carriages to go, both directions. And the gate from Haven into Parlength is one of these laneways. And so it's a relatively safe section of Parlength. It is not as many creatures there, though they can come in there, and there are no permanent residents in the laneways. They can come and go through, maybe they cross the laneway to get from one section to another, but they generally are not staying there. So that's why it's considered relatively safe. The Twists is a place that is so much magic that you don't remember where you've been, or where you're going. So it's basically interfering with your ability to transverse the twist and also remember anything about it when you come back out, if you come out. The War Zone is an interesting area. Parlength. There are various horror constructs that have been created by horrors, and there are several groups of them that have been fighting each other for, I guess, decades by now. They fight every day a new battle, and they're constructs, so they're not technically living, but they trying to win the battle. So if you have to go into the war zone, you're going to be surrounded by constructs that are constantly in battle. The Smalls are a lot of small buildings, which is where the name comes from, that are close to the wall that Haven is part of. So close to the gate between going from Haven into Parlength. And the mayor of Haven is trying to increase the size of Haven by taking over the Smalls and making the Smalls part of Haven. Unfortunately, the city guard is just trying to survive their patrol when they have to go into Parlength and patrol the Smalls as part of the campaign to take over the Smalls and bring it into Parlength. So they're not very enthusiastic about going out there. So most of the people of Haven do not consider the Smalls to be a safe area. Then there are the catacombs. The catacombs are tunnels deep down under the ground of the city, and they're sort of like a subway system under there. But there are no maps in the area, and they are extremely dangerous, just like any dungeon or care that you would go into would be dangerous. Finally, you have vaults furthest away from the gate leading from Haven into Parlength. And so they and there's a very dangerous creature that lives there. So very few adventurers go to the vaults. So say you've run a few of these adventures and your players are ready to continue. You can, if you're the GM, you can expand the time it takes to go through each LOB, as I talked about before. You can add your own encounter. There are a list of creatures and horrors and horror constructs that are found in Par Length, and you can certainly design your own encounters and or whole adventures within this setting. You can make your own characters if you want to have your own NPC. That's something that as a GM, you start out with maybe a few NPCs of your own, but then as you go further, you often develop more, and they can become favorites with your players as you develop these personalities of these NPCs. NPC is a non-player character, and PC is a player character. And once you are comfortable in GMing in Haven and Par Length, you and your players can then move out into Barsaive and go further out into the world. In fact, one of the adventures, one of the LOBs goes to the Blood Wood. The players will, the adventurers will leave Haven and travel to the Blood Wood, where the Blood Elves live, and part of the adventure will take place there. So from there, you can, figure out where you want to go and what you want to do adventure-wise with the players. So it's a good starting point, I think, especially for new GMs that want to run Earth Dawn. Do you have any questions?
And remember, you can always type them if you're shy. We don't mind at all.
Yeah, I'm going to put the link to, I think it will work. Oh, it didn't go in as a link when I copied it in there. If you go to the FASA website and you go to the shop, you can get those books. So I would talk the booklets that are available for you and your players to run and play in Haven and the LOBs.
Who doesn't like a free PDF? All right.
That's right.
Don't be shy. You can type questions or ask them. I actually learned some. I haven't gotten to read all of them or play in all of them yet, so I didn't know very much about the
Mm-hmm.
smalls. So is it like
Well, they're
buildings for like
all different
dwarves? So
kinds.
they're all short buildings, or they're short buildings as in they're just one story.
They're also small buildings. Yeah, they're I think the highest is only 2 stories. So it was a residential area. The workers lived rather than the rulers.
That's cool.
And so that it was designed for individual family homes, basically. But they're all 1 and 2 story buildings. And
Cool.
they're very close together. It's like a maze.
So if you just wanted to GM the LOBs, do they run pretty sequentially? Or are there gaps that you're going to have to fill
Yes.
in?
Well, I always like to have downtime between campaigns with my players when I'm the GM. And this allows the players to do some personal quests that they want to improve their character insight. So, find a mentor and increase their circle when they have enough. They've earned enough and have raised their stats enough to be able to do it. and they may have some individual quests, or they may have something that they come up with that they want to do and before you run the next one. So but you could run one to the next, especially the first 8 that are in the volume 1 of the Haven book, because they go together sequentially. Now they can be played or run out of order, but definitely the first 8 seem to go well if you kind of run through them in order or close to an order. It does build up to kind of a conclusion at the end of those first 8.
So I think the LOBs are really cool. I like how they're supposed to fit together, and you can grow your characters with
I'm
it.
sorry? Yes. Yes. I've always liked to basically advance a character by playing it. It seems to develop more naturally and to be more unique that way, because people will base their advancement on what they've done in their adventures and when they played. So so yeah, I think it's a really good campaign as well as a convention event.
All right. Is there any other questions? While they're thinking, I think you did a fantastic job. Like I said, I even learned some stuff.
Oh, very good.
All right. We've got somebody typing. Oh, Wasu said that they definitely heard a few new things. And like I said,
Very good.
I even learned stuff. That's always great. All right. If there's no other
Mhm.
questions, I want to say thank you. Oh, Tex is typing. Tex also heard lots of new things. See?
Yeah, very good. Yeah, I've been running since about 2000, and I started playing first. I started running like 6 months later, so I didn't take very long before I started GMing. I started out with Shadowrun, and then from there moved into Earth Dawn. But I like Earth Dawn a lot better than Shadowrun nowadays.
Don't we all? Me, I'll be good. That's what I mean.
Yeah, you did.
All right. Anything CGL's working on right now? Not sure. I'm very confused on what CGL is.
Catalyst Game Labs. Catalyst Game
Oh,
Labs.
we have no idea. They're their own entity.
CGL, Catalyst Game Labs. Yeah.
I'm going to be pretty honest. I don't have a lot of the latest current dish Shadowrun stuff. I have very little past
Mm-hmm.
what, like, fourth ed. So
Mm-hmm.
not trying to be bad, just All right. I think with that, I'm gonna let you go, and everyone can have a 15-minute break before Don's drink and draw. Yeah, drink and draw. Thank you, Debbie. You did a great
All right.
job.
Thank you for coming to my talk. Thank you.
Good night.